Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's well. So, basically, today we are going to just run through one area of the whole sort of LinkedIn process, rather than the CV and combining the CV with the with LinkedIn optimization, outreach, and the rest of it. We are literally just going to cover the whole process of the LinkedIn profile. And then essentially from the LinkedIn profile, we're going to look at outreaching. We're going to look at also the whole aspect of how to engage with senior stakeholders, hiring managers, how to connect with them. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through this presentation, and then we can take some questions if we need to after at the end. I will leave some time for people to get some put in some questions. So just bear with me as I set up my setting, get the presentation ready. Share screen. Right, so I am just gonna open up the actual presentation and then share my screen. So just bear with me as I do that. Number. Download as PPT. Here we go. Right, so no, Dell. There we are. No, didn't want that. Right, so I'm just going to share my screen now. Right, so share screen, and that's the one. Share. Right, I hope everybody can see that. So I'm just going to run through this. So essentially, just a little bit of an introduction, effectively for myself first, why I'm doing it. This is the things that we're going to run through. Who am I? And how to set up your LinkedIn profile, how to outreach, how to connect, and then effectively a few other tidbits here and there for everybody. So I'm a business owner and I've been a cybersecurity enthusiast, particularly for the last 3 or 4 years. I've been doing cybersecurity recruitment for about 3 years, tech recruitment for about 12, worked for a job board for about 2 years. I've got over 9.5, nearly 10,000 connections now, of which probably a quarter of them are senior C-suite, a lot of them within cybersecurity and tech in the UK. So, hang on. Okay. Can everybody, Oladapo, can you just confirm that everyone can see the presentation on the live, buddy?
Yes, I can see it actually from my end.
Okay.
Can everyone see it?
Yeah, if they just let you know in the chat that it's okay. Okay. That's fine. Let me just go back into the presentation now. So let's get straight into it. So the first section of any situation within LinkedIn is how you set up your profile, because this is really important, especially when you're an entry-level candidate. And I'm just going to go into a little bit of an understanding of this first, because sometimes people don't really get how important LinkedIn is. A few years back, it was all about the CV, a covering letter, CV, and that was it. You'd send out your application as many places as you could go, and you would try and get a role based around sending it out, etc., etc. The world has evolved since COVID. A lot more roles are now remote. A lot more opportunities are coming through. I think personal branding is the term that people like to brand around. The reality is that LinkedIn has given a space to an average person to be able to stand out effectively. And there's many ways they can do that. They can do that with a good profile, with interesting information within your bio, and be able to showcase what you do so that employers, hiring managers, senior professionals can also see that. This doesn't apply to just entry level. This applies to everybody. It's a much wider thing than just entry level. So what you need is a professional photograph. I mean, essentially, you can see that this is sort of so they know who you are, that you're a real person. I mean, I get a lot of and the reason why I harp on about a photograph and being professional, being you and being professional, is because I get a load of bots trying to connect up with me, trying to sell me things, or are scams. You can just spot it a mile off. Use your own picture, but make it appropriate. So what I'm also getting at is there's a lot of ladies that think that I need to show certain aspects of my body just to make it possible. And my opinion is, keep it professional so that people keep you professional, and they want to understand you for your great mind. That's what you want to be known for. So you need an eye-catchy headline. Essentially, that very much, I would break it down into a few different things, what you're aspiring towards. So if you're looking for a junior SOC role, or entry-level SOC role, entry-level pen testing, entry-level intelligence, whatever it is, incorporate that within your headline so that people can see immediately, right, this person is this is who they are, so they can identify who you are immediately and know you're not a scam. Second of all, they can identify exactly what you're looking for in terms of as a role. It's immediately noticeable for them. You've also, in your bio, I would definitely use the emojis. I would definitely use I wouldn't make it very long. I've recently updated mine because I found there was too much information in there, and it needs to be streamlined. I think if you can get it into 300, 400 characters, that's going good. 500 at tops. You want it so that basically people can immediately identify who you are, what you do, what maybe search you've done, what your skills are, what you bring to the table, but do it in a very concise way. And then one thing that you do want to do is, if you've got any certs, you need to make sure they're in the cert section to show that you've got these certifications. You know what? Unfortunately, in this industry, people are obsessed with certifications. Whether we like it or not, that's how a lot of employers differentiate at the moment. So it's important to follow those rules. Now, the thing with LinkedIn is, what I want to do is I want to really highlight how important LinkedIn really is and how to actually use it. So if you think of it like this, it's a platform now that's basically social media platform that allows professionals to network, to engage in groups, to essentially showcase your skills, abilities, and achievements for other employers to see as well. If you're employed already, or if you're looking for your first role, it's a platform that people can go onto and see. So remember one thing: whatever you're posting on there, it's very important that there remains a good reason why you're doing it. I mean, when you get to a certain stage where people know you, you can post social things or more social things. But in the initial stages where you're building up your contact list, your connection list, you need to keep it as professional as possible and avoid controversial or argumentative type situations whereby people will basically not want to engage with you, is the best way to put it. So what you want to do, what you do want to post about, is your achievements, definitely. And if you do try hack me, hack the box, any sort of CTFs, put that on there. Now, I understand that some of these are very broad. So even if you're looking at maybe infrastructure side, if you're looking at networking side, if you're looking at whatever aspect within the whole composite structure, it's really important you find the CTFs related to you, or the try hack me, hack the box related to you, and you do those. It's not to say you don't keep more general, but one of the things is very important. You've got to decide what aspect of cybersecurity you want to go into. This is the most important thing. In fact, yesterday I was talking to Mohammed Shah, who's works in the BSO office at London Stock Exchange. And one of the things that he said to me is that it's so important that you know what area of cyber you're going into, and then you chase down a role within that. And he's right, because it's really, really important that you actually understand that the skills that you've got relate back to the role that you're trying to do. And therefore, so when you're posting, you can post about the specialism that you're interested in, because immediately you'll gravitate towards those the connections to make with people who are effectively in your specialism. And that's the key thing. You want to be able to connect to people who are within your specialism, senior professionals, hiring managers, and essentially the type of people that would be on the lookout for your skill set. That's where we're going. So now engage with the senior professionals through comments and reposting your own ideas on their posts. So it could be there was a breach. I think recently, I think you all know that there was a breach, a cyber breach for the NHS down in the south. So what you can easily do is if there's certain cyber professionals, senior professionals that you're trying to link in with, maybe you repost their post and you put your own slant on it to say, really interesting post by X, and you can then put your own angle on it as to why it's important to you. Why was it why is it important? Don't use unprofessional or abusive language. There's no point. And do a post about yourself. So I would say 1 in every 5 or 1 in every 10 posts, you make something about yourself, a fact about yourself. If you do some charity work, if you're you've got family members that are maybe got certain health conditions that are very rare or challenging, or an aspect that really shows your resilience. You've worked at some CTF that was very hard, or a certificate. Talk about that. It's good to sometimes highlight things that are personal to you. So I'm just going to share a little bit about my own profile. So as you can see, this is how I've set mine up, and it should give you an idea. I've used essentially a very, on brand. If you the actual banner is very much on brand. It gives I wouldn't recommend putting your contact details if you don't want lots of people to contact you. I'd leave your phone number out, maybe leave your email in there, that's fine, but make it clear. So mine says CEO NQB Recruitment, and then I've got connecting consultancy to the top 1% of talent and 10 years experience in recruitment. Boom, they know exactly what I'm up to. They know I'm from Manchester, the UK. There's my analytics. So I do know how to outreach on an average average 7 days, anywhere from 20 to 50,000 impressions on what I post. And I get searched quite a bit. And that's how I've tailored mine right down. So I basically made it very, very slick, smooth, and straight to the point about what I can offer clients. Because obviously mine's essentially focused around my specialism. So that's how I've set mine up. Now, what we're going to look at now is outreach, because this is really, really important. This is the key. So outreaching and how you do that. So when you're sending a connection request, there is lots of different ways to do this. So you might have attended an exhibition. Get a list of all the people. In fact, it's much better to actually do it when you're at the expo. So you're at the expo, you get talking to somebody at the stand, really good person. You've make a good connection with them. You ask them for the LinkedIn. You connect up with them there and there where you're on the stand. Boom, and you reference the fact that you were talking to them at the expo. If you don't do it there and then, get your book out or your phone out, make a note. You had a conversation with them, what the conversation was, and then you reference that in the connection request. Great to meet you at the InfoSec exhibition in London at the Excel Centre. Great to talk about I don't know, threat intelligence, the future of pen testing, the future of AI in cybersecurity, whatever it was you talked about, reference that and send it off to the to them as a connection request. 9 times out of 10 people will connect. So that's one way. So if you attend an exhibition, if you're in any of these groups on LinkedIn, utilize that as well. Find common people on there that could be good senior professionals that you can learn from, you can connect with, you can network with, and it really does make a difference. And then reference, we're both part of the cybersecurity group on LinkedIn, so I thought I'd reach out to connect. If you've got connections that are mutual, that's even better. Reference that in there as well. The other way to do it is that if you see somebody who's a senior within, let's say you're in threat intelligence and you notice this person's a senior threat intelligence analyst at whatever company, just reference that when you're basically putting the connection request together. Just say that. Notice you are a senior threat intelligence, or you're an expert in threat intelligence. I would love to connect up and gain some insight into the world as I'm looking to try and break into this field. And then first and most important thing is, do not ask for a job the minute they connect with you. It's just, I'll tell you what, 10 times out of 10, nobody's going to be interested in that. And they will either just put you on the block list or they will just not engage with you going forward. So don't waste your time. So once you've connected, what you need to do is build up a rapport, showcase your skills, and ask questions. So this could be that, I don't know, let's get the example that you're a pen tester and everybody can see that automation is coming, it's been around for a long time, but let's just say the vanilla pen testing is slowly but surely going towards where you don't really need that many skills, those sort of skills, where you need more skills in sort of red teaming. You might need more skills in the use of the tools. So this is where you build your report and ask questions. You might ask, what are the skills that they think would be relevant in the future, or what tools would be relevant in the future? How do I keep myself relevant in the future? Ask for advice. Just ask them their story. How did they get into cyber? What made them break into the industry? And do comment, like, and share their content, but make it relevant. So like I explained before, maybe there was a cyber breach and you want your own angle on it. You can put your own angle on it and post the article and just say, right, it's really relevant for me because of X, Y, and Z. You know, it's important to basically be seen as professional, confident, competent, and knowledgeable. Everybody knows that entry-level people aren't experts, but what you need to be is you need to be somebody that can, at the very least, show keenness and willingness to learn. That is the key. Somebody that, you know, from week on week, their knowledge is increasing and they're showing their knowledge increasing. So let's have a look at some of the ways I've interacted with people. So I met Roman. He's a team lead in an organization. Basically met him at an expo in the NEC, reached out to him, connected. Same with Sarah. Sarah's written many books. She's a Microsoft chief board advisor in cybersecurity. And again, very much connected with her and have made very, very strong connections with her, and actually managed to build up a very good rapport with her. She's hopefully going to be on my the videos that I do for the people's stories on how they got into cybersecurity. And again, James Ullman, I get head of incident response and threat intelligence at Quorum Cyber. Same thing, just use a slightly different way of interacting with them. But I never ask them, can I come and recruit for you? What I do is I'm building up a rapport. And if they need the services, they know where I am. It's as simple as that. You don't need to sometimes be so obvious and blatant. You just need to build up a rapport and genuinely do it. Don't build up a rapport with some sort of devious mind that I'm gonna ensnare them. Just build up a rapport because you find them interesting and you want to learn from them. You want to learn what's going on. At the end of the day, that's very important. So here's an exchange that I had with a medical doctor who's talking about generative AI in healthcare, and basically we had quite an interesting exchange. I mean, he's talking about the use of robotics and AI within healthcare. I mean, at the end of the day, I recently, well, this is not recent, it's going back some time now, but I saw how a operation was done by a robot and it was remotely controlled by one of the top surgeons in the world. It was a minor operation. You couldn't do a major one this way. But essentially, I was saying well, I was having a discussion around that with this doctor. And that's what I'm talking about. Engage with people. Engage in this, because you don't have to have the same view as them. If you can hold your own and you can then effectively give your own point of view, but you've got strong facts and information that back up what you're saying. I mean, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but there's many times I do not agree with what people sometimes say in cyber, because very often they're coming from a point of view which is literally non-cyber people don't understand, because the communication levels are often not there. So sometimes you can disagree, but you need to have the right information. Again, Steve, he's the head of information security at Mercedes. Again, I've had conversations with him, and I think it's really, really important that you be able to outreach to people and remain relevant. And you don't. I think it's absolutely, in fact, I will say absolutely vital that you learn how to interact without getting people's backs up. So if you are going to disagree, do it in a respectful way, and also share what your thoughts are and why you think that. So it can be that maybe they've got a certain view on what threat intelligence is going to look like in the future, or what pen testing is going to look like. As long as you can back that up in your own way, it's fine. There's no problem with that. You can very easily disagree with them, but remember, you need to have evidence and information to back up what you believe. Now, my outreach for me is I often like to post videos. It's not for everybody, and I understand that basically I am very confident in presenting myself or whatever I want to on a video. Not everybody's like that, but it's an example of example of how you can effectively. Is it still Oladapo, is it still showing? Is everything still showing on the screen?
Yeah, everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Okay. So essentially, you can use different formats and mediums to get outreach. For example, if you've read a book and it's on cybersecurity, and you think it's an excellent book, this is what I did for Sarah. I read her book, essentially. Really, really good book, and I reviewed it, and I thought, yeah, it's excellent, because it's the first time somebody's looking at threat intelligence from a more a behavioral science perspective, rather than all this technology stuff, not looking at it from a human perspective, which is the mistake I think a lot of people make. So anyway, I reviewed the book and put that out there, and it was good because it connected us again, and we started talking again, different things. I put a video as to why I do what I do, why is it important to me, and I do this regularly because I'm very, very, very passionate about cybersecurity. I think it's really vital that we be able to communicate ideas effectively, and I think this is one area that really is sadly lacking in the industry. We have a lot of people that are very technically competent. I think that's how you would put it. But they lack the communication skills to explain what they want to do. And that's why so often at board level, things just aren't done, because the CISOs understand the technology, but they don't understand how to sell it to the board. What do they need to do? Not just about scaring the pants off the board, but I think a lot of the time it's to do with the fact that the board just don't understand what they're talking about. I'll be very honest. When you start quoting acronyms at people and saying, you start using terms that nobody understands apart from cybersecurity professionals, you've lost the argument completely. So that's my advice. Post things on LinkedIn so that when people see it, it talks about you, but it also gives them an idea about effectively who you are and what you bring to the table. So it could be, I know Joe Wells does this perfectly. He often posts, every day he posts about CTS. So I think it's Try At Me. He's on every day, does a different room every day. Do something like that, but don't copy other people. Find your own format of how to do it, because I tell you what, nobody likes plagiarism. Nobody. No, you've got to stamp your own identity on whatever you do, so people know you. Not think that you're a knockoff of somebody else who's doing this. Do the rooms or do whatever you do, but do it in an authentic, individualistic way so people can see who you are. That's really important. So now, why all this? Because essentially doing all of this, so linking to the right people, making sure that when you outreach and you're doing posts, they are relevant to your industry, to your sector, to what you're trying to get into. That will lead to visibility because people can then see you. One of the my mentees that's got just recently started a job at NCC, Cat, she effectively, when I first started mentoring her, the problem was that she wasn't visible on LinkedIn. She didn't like going to expos because she felt no confidence. And one of the things that I helped her with that she's done herself, I can't take credit for that. She's done it herself. She was just, the dots were joined for her. But essentially, posting the right things on a regular basis, attending the expos and having the confidence to talk to stakeholders that are essentially in the in positions that can recruit someone like Kat. So that then led to credibility because 3 or 4 months down the line, she's getting interviews. She's being able to get interviews. She's attending interviews. She's getting second interviews. And finally, she's got a job with NCC. So it does lead to employment. And why I'm saying that is because too many people, all they do is they sit there on LinkedIn. They don't do anything. They're just watching others, useless. It won't get you anywhere. Or even if all you do all day is like other people, no one will notice you. You need to post stuff that's relevant. You need to get yourself out there. I'm not talking about doing a video every day. I'm not even talking about doing a video every week. I'm talking about posting things which will be relevant within your sector so other people can see that you're visible. And then that will eventually lead to credibility, which will lead to opportunities, which will then eventually lead to employment. And that's the thing that's missing. People think that it's a quick fix, that you'll get a job within a week. It does not work like that. On average, I've worked with people for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. It's how long is a piece of string before they get opportunities. And it isn't one of these things where you can just simply, click your fingers and there's a job at the end of it. There isn't. You have to work at it. So that's my presentation. Let me just looks like it's that's interesting. It's in the wrong place. Right. You can see my contact information there. Right. Do we have any questions in the chat, Oladapo?
No, not at the moment. But I can just share a bit of my own perspective.
Please do. Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So initially when I started using LinkedIn, I noticed that I wasn't sort of visible to recruiters. I was not following the right people, so I had to change my strategy. I think after about 2 months, I started getting calls from recruitment agencies, and I think it was because I kind of optimized my LinkedIn, putting the right words, putting exactly what they're looking for, things like that. Yeah. So you're absolutely spot on on that, because I've benefited from optimizing my LinkedIn and then getting lots of calls from recruitment agencies. So that's really true.
Absolutely. And I think this is the one of the things that people don't really understand is that it literally is a process. You are following a process to essentially get yourself noticed. What does visibility mean? Visibility means that when people are, let's say they are a SOC manager or a head of pen testing or offensive security or head of DRC or information security, they're scouting. I'm telling you what, they do spend, even if it's only half an hour a day on LinkedIn, they will spend some time on LinkedIn generally. And a lot of the time, this is, I can tell you directly from my clients, often what they're also doing is they're building up their own talent pipelines. So whilst they do use recruitment agencies like myself, they also try and recruit directly because it saves them money. It's as simple as that. And I'm not an idiot not to know that they also do this. So what they will do is often, if they know in 3 months, 4 months time, they're going to need a SOC analyst, or they're going to need let's say they're going to need a couple of pen testers, they will look out for people that are posting about these things. Simple as that. And they will then make a note. They'll whether it's they'll connect up with the person and have it ready so that in 3 months, 4 months when they are recruiting, they know exactly who to go to. They'll do that. So believe you me, it does work. There's been occasions where I've had candidates in for an interview and they are really, really good, but essentially the client has said we've taken on someone directly that was just a little bit less than them, but we saved £10,000 on a fee. They honestly will do that. They will reach out to candidates directly and build up a talent pipeline. Any questions in the chat?
No, but I'm thinking maybe it's not refreshing or something. I don't know, but none.
Well, let me see if I can. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's see if I can get into that. Yeah, sometimes it can get stuck. So let me see if it. Okay, I can now. Yes. Is there any questions? Okay, Zavid has it. There is a question here. Let me just read it in a little bit of detail and see if I can help with the answer. Just bear with me. Yeah, so if people want to put the questions in the chat, I will be able to I'll be able to answer any question. We've still got like 20 minutes or so before I've got to go. So I'm happy to answer. I think Zavid has put a question in there. I'm just going to have a quick look at that and basically come back to you. Just give me a second to find the right screen. Where are we? That's the one. Let me just put it in the chat so I can read it. Right. So it's saying, oh, it's not copied it all. Hang on. So for some reason, it's decided not to copy the whole thing. Let's go in here. So it says.
Okay, I can see it. It says, "Hi Musa, thank you for always helping entry level cybersecurity."
It's cut off half the question. Let me just post it from here to you,
Okay.
so you can read it out. Connection is the bit that's missing. I want to post that out to you. It's great to send the. Okay, that's the second bit. And then you can start reading now so that we can then I can answer the question. That's fine.
Okay, so it says, "Hi Musa, thank you for always helping entry level for cybersecurity. I appreciate it. I just want to say the tradition for hiring cybersecurity graduates is forgotten in the UK. Connection is great with recruiters, even with some recruiters. Uh, they send the request to connect, but if I send an email regarding a job, some recruiters just look at the message and they don't bother responding, but they uh they are desperate to connect to their website. So not sure what else could be done. Some companies want experienced people, and some companies advertise for an entry level. But within 3 years experience, in my opinion, they want an experienced person with money of entry level and not
Yeah.
showing the salary.
Yeah, this is especially in the UK. It's a big problem. I think in America it's probably less because salaries are a lot higher over in the US. So I think currently the situation is that a lot of job and that say entry level. I think it's actually someone was telling me an employer was saying that it can sometimes be a fault of LinkedIn. So when they post it, it picks it up as entry level rather than an experience, mid level or whatever it is. But often when you read the job spec and it says entry level in there and then it says 3 years experience, you're sort of scratching your head. My guess is what happens is HR are the ones that post these jobs, not the hiring manager, and they forget to change some of the wording around. They'll add a few bits here and there, and I think a lot of the time the fault doesn't lie with the hiring manager. It does and it doesn't. It doesn't lie with them because they haven't put the advert out. It's HR or recruitment, internal recruitment that've done it. Or where they should be, they should take more care because they're the ones who are going to carry the can for this. So when you're getting the wrong kind of people going to, and it's happened. Some of my mentees have told me horror stories about how they've gone for an interview expecting it to be an entry level, and it's like this person's talking about things that only an experienced person would know, but they're paying like 32, 33 grand. And it's like, what are they on about? No person with 2 years experience in this would be on 32, 33,000. So it is unfortunate. I don't know about Europe, but I've heard it's not as bad in the US because salaries are a lot higher in cyber in the US. But yeah, it is a problem. And with regards to recruiters outreaching, I don't know. I only know a few recruiters in the industry, and they tend to be the good ones because I ignore the shit ones. Unfortunately, there's a lot of really bad recruiters out there who's just trying to build up a database and don't really care about people. It is unfortunate, but pick who you work with carefully. That's what I would suggest. Any more questions at all?
There's one. So from Vicky, she says, is there any way you can go for someone to have a quick look on your LinkedIn profile so it can be optimized?
You mean finding somebody that will have a look at your profile and optimize it?
Yeah, I think that's what she means.
I'm off at the moment because of so many appointments with my dad. But what we can do is, there's a few people that have reached out to ask for help. I can't help everybody. I'll be honest. I am really at the moment. I don't have time, but I can pick this up with you afterwards, Vicky, myself directly.
Okay. So personally, I noticed there seems to be a boom or hiring period for cybersecurity in the UK generally. So I observed that hiring picks up really well from late March into April, and it picks up until maybe October and tails up a little bit.
So there's two aspects to that. One is that if the hiring is done after April, it's because, some of it will be to do with the public sector. So many of these companies, they might be dealing with the public sector. Public sector, essentially, the tax year starts in April the 6th. So what happens is they don't have any budget. They've used all their budget. So until April comes around, they don't have any money left. And usually they use it within probably 6-8 months. And then what happens is that they're then struggling after October, November, because they either have got no money left and they don't know what to do. So the companies that work with the NHSs, the Department of Transport, the Ministry of Defence, whoever it is, the local authorities, it could be that their budget is now almost used up, and whatever's left, they have to make it last until April or the end of March. And essentially, that's why you might see an increase in hiring. Although currently this year, I think it's been very tough. I don't think there is as many roles as they were 12 months ago, 2 years ago. It's definitely a lot tougher out there. There is, however, I know the government have obviously got that scheme where they were trying to get more people into cyber. So there were some bursaries for doing some boot camps. I know some of them, I'm not going to name them because I'm not a big fan of boot camps. Other than Cyblack, I do like Cyblack a lot. I think it's an organization that gives a lot more practical assistance. I've got to say that. And then you've got Bit Training that do more apprenticeships. But in general, what you find is that a lot of the learning could be done for a fraction of the price, and you just need to have a laptop. You need to sort of go on the internet and well, first of all, decide what you're going to do, and then after that, chart which search you need to do. And one thing actually, when I was talking to Mohammed yesterday, as I said, he's been a very senior professional within London Stock Exchange. He was saying to me, just do the entry level search to start with, and then get a role, get some experience, and do the search while working for people, because certs on their own often don't really mean much. And I think probably other than pen testing, where almost every man and his dog wants Crest, I think it probably is more important to try and get a role and get your employers to pay for the certification. Any more questions, Oladapo?
Not really, but I'll just say, I think some recruiters, not all of them though, maybe the shitty ones, but they sort of contact you, just like someone as earlier said, and they just don't follow up. I don't know what happens sometimes. Why that happens, I don't know.
I think, I mean, I can tell you from my own experience, there can be times where a client will give me a job spec and say, right, I need to recruit for this. I'm not justifying it. I'll be honest with you. 9 times out of 10, I try and keep in touch with my candidates just to keep them in the loop. But there can be times where, you don't know what's going on. So that they give you a job spec, they say, this is what we're recruiting for. You'll go and find some people, you get them across to the client. The client says, yes, these are really good. And then you hear nothing. You don't know whether the job's been put on hold, whether they found some people internally to do this. You just don't know you don't know what to tell the candidate. Weeks go by sometimes. You get tired of saying it's still in the mix. It's still in the mix. And this is part of the problem is, especially at this time of year in holidays, you don't know, has your client and a few of the key people gone on holiday at different times, so they can't sit together and work out some dates for an interview. It just happened to me. I have a role that I'm working on as a consultant role within identity access management, and effectively, we thought we'd found the right person, didn't work out. I had some candidates in the mix, and it's taken literally 4 weeks to get some interview dates out of the client, because the main person went on holiday, then somebody was sick, and then it was a case of trying to get the owner of the business to and honestly, it can be a mess. I think Oladepo's gone, but it can be a real mess. But good recruiters will 9 times out of 10 try to keep candidates in the loop, and even if it's a situation whereby the client has now decided that, sorry, we're not recruiting this role anymore, or we found the person intern, or whatever it is, you'll go back to the candidate and just be honest with them. What's the harm? It's not your fault. At the end of the day, if the client has done something stupid or they've decided to go in a different direction, it's not on you, is it? So it is tough. Anything else?
Not really, but one more from my side. So there was a situation where I got interviewed for a senior role in a particular company, and all of a sudden I got told that I think the hiring manager is domiciled in Australia.
Okay.
And they have London branch and all that. So all of a sudden they said the hiring manager has decided that the candidates should be domiciled in the United States. I'm like, why did you put me through the first interview, the second one, the third one, and the third one was supposed to be the final one, and
these are again really, really stupid things that happen within the hiring process, and some of it won't be even the recruiter. It can be that they told the recruiter, just find us the right person. It doesn't matter where they are. Maybe they're a global company. They've got several offices all over, and they weren't specific at which part of the globe they need to be in. But the fact is that the US and Australia couldn't be further apart, because the US time zone is the opposite end to the Australian one, as you know. I mean, we're in the middle. Australia's like 13 or 12 hours ahead, and parts of the US can be 10, 11 hours behind. So if it's San Francisco, if it's the California side, that's the most furthest part of the essentially of the US time zones. So it's a really stupid thing, but it could be. I'm not saying it is, but sometimes what happens is recruiters aren't given the whole information, even though sometimes we'll ask, and my client, client will say, yeah, it's 100% remote. Then in the interview, then they'll say to the candidate, oh yeah, but you need to be in the office once a week. That's not remote, bro.
That's hybrid.
That's hybrid.
Yeah,
exactly. And so essentially, what happens is sometimes clients can tell you one story, or let's just put it this way: one person in the organization gives you the job spec, and then when they're being actually interviewed by the decision maker, the decision maker's got a totally different job spec in mind. And why this happens is because it isn't the decision maker that signs off the job spec. They just send you the job spec without sending it to the decision maker and saying, right, is this correct? This is what often happens in big companies. Smaller ones less so, because what you tend to find is that the owners are more involved in the recruitment process, so they've got more input into exactly what is going on in the business, and they're more hands-on. Larger businesses often have the problem of, essentially, you've got, 100, 200 hires a year. You definitely couldn't be involved in all of that, and you rely on mistakes happen. Unfortunately, it's not good, and it's not a good look for that company, because you're thinking to yourself, these are amateurs. They're absolute idiots. They have got not a clue as to what they're doing. Any more questions?
I can't see anyone from my end here.
Okay, I don't think there is. Vicky, did you want us to have a look at your profile on now while we're here, or would you prefer to do it on a one-to-one basis in a couple of weeks? Just drop it in the chat, and I'm happy to go either way that you'd like. Because we've still got about 10 minutes or so. I could probably do a very quick look-see on it if you want, or first come, first serve. If anyone wants to have us a quick look, we've got 10 minutes left to have a quick look at a profile on here now. If not, then it will be good night for me.
Okay, she's saying have a look now if you want. She's giving you.
No problem. Let's have a quick look here. Right, I'm just going to share my screen again. Can you see that? Can you see me having shared the screen or not?
No, I can't see the shared screen.
Yes,
I can see it now.
Okay, so I think good. You've got a picture, open to work. That's fine. I'd probably have maybe a bit more cybery type, depending on what you're looking for. I would cybersecurity analyst, maybe show a bit more which area as a cybersecurity analyst are you interested in: defensive, offensive, threat intelligence. What's the area that you're interested in, Vicky? Put that out there. I like the fact that you push your passionate about building resilient cyber ecosystem. So if that means you're more into GRC, then that's good. I like this, the fact that you've got the open to work and the areas that you're open to. That's really, really key. You've got groups there. So let's have this. I would change into more bullet form. if you remember how I did mine, do it that way. It makes much more sense because it's much more readable. At the moment, that is literally a block of text. People won't really read that. If I'll be honest, they will not really get it to effectively. So what we would need to do is you need to get that and pop that into either ChatGPT and just get it to break it down into bullet points, or do it yourself and put some emojis in there. I like what you said here. So transitioning from an engineering career in medical devices industry, so that's good. Embrace challenges of cybersecurity. You've obviously got certain certs, which is good that you put that there, and you're good that you put that. But maybe you want to put some of your achievements in there, some of the frameworks that you're more familiar with. You've got, I mean, made it very general. So vulnerability management frameworks and remediation. So that's literally offensive, defensive, and framework. So you need to be a bit more specialized. You need to understand what is it you want to do, so that when you are applying for roles, they can understand why you're applying. Because I'll tell you one thing that a lot of employers do now: they will literally just go into your profile and have a look and think, okay, what's going on here? So let's have a look. See, you're quite a technical person from your background. I mean, although it's more chemistry and software in line with the intended purpose. So there's difference. There is a process validation. There, you've got effectively a lot of transferable skills that you can. I would build them into this about section. So the section should read where you've come from, so that they can understand who you are, what your key skills are that you can closely, the cross transferable skills that you can bring into here. Then look at the fact that you've done caps lock and that's brought certain certs around GRC into the mix. And I wouldn't have it so it's all, vulnerability management frameworks and remediation. It literally reads to me like you could do anything, which is not what you want. You want people to know that, yes, I'm interested in GRC. GRC is me, and come and get me. And because I can build from the ground up. I'm going to learn, blah, blah, blah. That's what you want. I mean, the rest of it, I do know you engage a lot, so I think that's really important. And I think it makes sense that the way in which you do it, which is good. You've built good relationships. I can see there's a lot of senior professionals who engage with you. Just keep going. Just keep going. So that's anything else? Anyone else?
Someone else, Anas Abubakar is asking if you could help look into his profile also.
Yeah, we've got a few minutes. We're happy to do that. Do you want? Let me have a look here. Let's go into the. Right. So. Oh. Anas Abubakar?
Yeah.
Let's have a look here. Let me share the screen again. Share screen. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Perfect. So good picture. Picture's a plus. I'd probably change that for something more cyber rather than an aerial shot, although it's a nice picture that. I would still go for something a bit more cybersecurity. You've clearly got a good level of followers. Cybersecurity analyst, CompTIA certified, Google certified analyst. I would be a bit more specialized into what you're actually trying to do, because that covers a lot of different areas. Are you looking for a GRC? Are you looking for, what is it you're actually looking for, Anas? Because that doesn't really say whether you want to be GRC, forensics, cyber threat intelligence. You need to be a bit more specific. Again, same thing. I would say break this into bite-sizable chunks within bullet points with emojis. Make it more easy to read. So start with. So let's have a look at your work history, and I can relate it back. So you're doing an internship, and you have been doing for a year. So you must have learned a lot of stuff from there. But and you've done a computer science degree, so you come from a background that would be maybe quite well aligned to cybersecurity in a lot of ways. You might want to sort of highlight that. But what I would first of all do is break down, if you've got other work history, break down those cross-transferable skills. What are you looking to do? So is it that you want to go into, I mean, according to this, you're basically looking to go into more sort of GRC, conducting risk assessments. Now, is this, and then mitigating cyber threats and identify, again, it's too broad. You need to choose. Do you want to be threat intelligence? Do you want to be GRC? What is it you want to do? And then build your profile around what you want to do. I think that's the important thing is, remember to be specialized in what you want, to highlight those skills that are required for that special. So threat intelligence requires a lot of research and going out there and trying to understand the threat actors around, what type of methods they use, what type of threat, which of the groups extort which companies, and how do they do it. It's building up that so that you need good research skills, you maybe need language skills, and this is what I'm trying to say. You need to be able to relate what you're looking to do with what your own skills are. And that's really important, because in the end, you've got to understand that this is an open platform. People are looking at this. What do you want them to see? What do you want to get across to them so that they understand, what are you looking to do, who you are, what skills you bring, and why they want to engage with you. Simple as that. Those are the key 4 things that you're trying to get across. I see you're not posting very often. You need to post much more. Some people say once a day. I would say at least 3 or 4 times a week, and you need to engage with other people. It's pointless having a network if you're not going to engage. Really, honestly, it will not. Having even 5,000 people in your network is useless unless you use the power of your network to get yourself noticed. Okay. And we've got about 3 minutes, so I'm just going to sum everything up for everyone here. Right. So once again, LinkedIn is a very, very powerful tool. Okay. Making sure that you've got your profile optimized and provisioned so it's special, so it shows that you're wanting to be a specialist in X area. Pick whichever area, doesn't matter, as long as you know your skills match what you're trying to do. That's the key, the most important aspect, to make sure that you can show credibility within what you're wanting to do. How you do that? You'll highlight your skills, if you've got any experience in it, whether it's an internship, whether it's personal projects, whether it's any certs, you're going to highlight that on your profile. You need to make sure that when you're engaging with senior stakeholders, with senior managers, with hiring managers on LinkedIn, you do it in a professional way. You ask their advice, you engage with them on their posts. Just so that they can see you, but B, so you can learn from it as well, and C, so that you can keep in that eye line, and they know in the future when an entry-level role comes up, they'll probably engage with you directly themselves. And that's the important bit. Getting that visibility, which will lead to credibility, would lead to employment opportunities. That's the way it works. So I'd like to thank everybody, and I'd like to thank Oladapo for being my host in this workshop. I'm not going to be running any for a couple of months now. I need to take a bit of a break and a breather. Lots going on, but I'm very thankful that everybody's attended, and thank you all for your time. The video will be available on YouTube to watch back if anybody's missed anything or if they've turned up late. So thank you very much, and it's a great. It's been really, really good to have people on board and impart some knowledge. I hope it's been useful. Thank you very much. Have a great.
Thank you, Musa, for this event.